gotta know and learn that, like, everything's gonna be okay, and that sometimes praying helps. A lot of times it does. I pray to God.
Welcome to Better Equipped. I'm Cody Balch, and I am here with my lovely, beautiful daughter, Ruth Elaine Balch. Ruth, welcome to Better Equipped.
It's so good to be here. Oh my gosh, I've been waiting a lot.
She's been waiting a long time, and she's wanted to do a healthy conversation. And today's healthy conversation that you've been praying about, thinking about literally for months is the topic of how to deal with anger. So Ruth, why is this the topic that you feel like you want to share your heart about today?
Well, ever since, like, I was a little girl, probably like Esther's age, like 6 years old, I've gotten super angry about little teeny tiny things, and I just don't feel okay about that. I get scared, I get all built up, and then I just throw it out on other people instead of who I'm angry with.
We have a family of 6 redheads, so we're passionate, and there's a place where that's good, that's fine. There's a lot of great things that God can do with passion. We feel deeply about things, but there's a shadow side to that, right? There's a shadow side where we shouldn't feel that passionate or deeply about everything, and then what do we do with that? How do we direct that? I know that oftentimes with my kids, I'll use the analogy of a fire. Fire can do really good things. Its heat, its blazingness can do a lot of great things, but fire can also burn things up. Yeah. And that expresses differently for different people, or even different children of mine, even within Micah and I. And but anger, why do you think, I mean, and you may not know the answer to this.
Yeah.
Like, this would take a lot of self-awareness, but why do you think yours expresses as anger, that kind of fire and that passion? Why do you think, it tends to lean that way? What is it that you feel inside of you that makes you feel more angry?
That's a hard question.
It is a tough question.
Yeah.
It is.
I think when people, like, for an example, like at church camp, it was really weird. Like, I was putting my hands up on my bunk, and then she drew all over my fingers. I got really angry. I started crying. The burning anger inside of me just goes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you're saying, I don't know why that's the way I respond, but you feel clear that that's something that just kind of a part of your kind of flesh nature is to be angry about things. And again, sometimes that's not just like yelling at people. It's just this overwhelming emotions of crying or just shutting down. I know that's part of it.
I do.
For you, it's not just like yelling at everybody.
Mm-hmm.
So let's talk about, okay, so like God is an all-consuming fire. We are not God.
Yes.
There is a righteous anger. There are things that we should feel frustrated about. But how have you been convicted on this journey? Because you're about to turn 11. Yeah. This month you'll turn 11. So on this journey of really just learning, who am I? What needs to change? What needs to look more like the what the Spirit of God inside of me? What do you feel like is not the appropriate, Christ representation of how to deal with that anger? Like, what would be you say that's just not of Jesus? That's not of Jesus.
Yeah, I would say like shutting down on them and just not listening to anyone, even though they're trying to help you. Like, I do that a lot of times, and then like sometimes I bet I get angry at you.
There was a period of time, you've gotten a lot better about that.
Yeah.
There's a period of time where you were tired. By the end of the day, you were tired, and you would try to almost make something out of nothing, kind of almost using anger as this power thing relationally.
my feelings when I get hurt. I care for my feelings a lot, and that does not help.
Right. So yeah. So shutting down has kind of been one of those.
Mhm.
Any other areas of ways to express? Because we're talking about what's next. We'll talk about what's helpful, what's been helping you. But any other ways that you feel like that anger seems to express itself that you feel like is not from Jesus?
Sometimes when I'm really angry, I get very physical. Like I hit Jude, or like I smack Esther. I punch JL or something like that. I've done that lots of times. But
yeah, when you were a baby,
yeah,
I've never pieced this together. When you were like, I'm talking like 6 months old, 9 months old.
Yeah.
And you have a twin sister.
Yeah.
So you'd be in the playpen together, and you would literally like bite JL's finger.
I know.
And you're also known as like you're also simultaneously one of our sweetest children.
Mm-hmm.
So it's an interesting side of you. And by the way, you got to give Ruth some credit. I am not making her do this. Mm-hmm. Did you beg me to like basically film this today?
No, I wanted to do it.
Yeah, but you basically begged me today to do this.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like I'm not making her do this, and for you to be so open and transparent about this, I hope those of you listening, no matter what age you are, a lot of you are probably not 11 years old, that there's a lot of humility to even say, no, I want to talk about this. God's really been helping me grow in this. And I commend you, Ruth, for like starting this journey with Jesus of transformation at 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 years old, and not waiting until, well, I'm married with 3 kids and I've got these responsibilities and I've never really tried to reel in these deep responses of anger. Like you're gonna keep on this journey because you're gonna be in such a more mature, transformed place by the time you get to those places of whether it's married, children, jobs, responsibilities of life that are kind of bigger than being a kid. Like these are investments that are really going to pay off as a disciple of Jesus, and the way that you harness that fire, harness that passion. So what are things that have helped you on this journey? First step was recognizing and acknowledging it and calling it out for what it is. But what would you say has also really helped you to gain traction and transformation to surrender that back to Jesus and use it more for healthy things?
I would say taking that self-control in you and actually saying sorry, because that really helps. It gives you a little bit more passion to say stuff. Like at Mommy's house, like my grandma, it was cousin camp and everybody was in the basement messing up our bed. I got really, really, really angry. I started tearing down. I went to the bathroom. I locked myself in. I was raging mad. Everybody kept knocking on the door like, hey, are you in there? And I'm like, I just didn't speak. I shut down on everyone, even Marmy. But I'd say talking to someone you trust absolutely helps a lot.
Which is like the opposite of what you're feeling in that moment, right?
Yeah.
So what your flesh is feeling is, I want to lock myself in and not talk to anybody. But you're saying to not obey that and to actually, doesn't have to be everybody in that moment, and maybe separating yourself from that moment was good and healthy, but to open your heart back up to actually verbalizing your thoughts, your feelings.
I know it's super hard. Like if you have anger issues like me, it's super hard to do that. But you've got to know and learn that like everything's going to be okay, and that sometimes praying helps. A lot of times it does. I pray to God. I pray to God and he just calms me down. I prayed to God that whole 10 minutes, like just trying to help me, try to open me up. And then Marmy came in. I started really like weeping, and she helped me a lot. I'm so glad God gave me her, because she is a special gift.
She is a special gift. And I think there's a healthy layer of like, all right, it's not bad to remove yourself from a situation so you don't do something dumb that you shouldn't do.
Physical.
Right.
Yeah.
So there's wisdom in that, and there's time to take time, separate, pray. But I love how you found that all right, there's still another step of sharing it, not bottling it up.
Yeah.
And where is appropriate, asking for forgiveness.
Mm-hmm.
Meaning it's not every situation where you'll need to ask for forgiveness.
Yeah.
But at the same time, where there's places where you feel like you crossed that line, where you didn't handle it in the way that is of the Spirit of God inside of you, and you kind of went to the flesh side. I think it takes not only a lot of humility to do that, but it brings a lot of healing to do that. And I think, have you found that that's helped you gain traction as you've lived that out more with, trying to share your heart, not bottle it, be praying about it, and then, where is appropriate to say, I'm sorry I got so upset, or I'm sorry I reacted that way. Has that helped you in the times that came after that to not feel as kind of combustible on the topic, kind of exploding?
Yes, that's definitely helped. When I just bottle it up, it just kind of like explodes in anger. The fire burns everything.
Right. Yeah. It's not just letting out little bit by little bit. It kind of, this moment leads to that moment, leads to that moment, and it builds to this like powder keg of explosion. And again, like Ruth, you're definitely in the realm of normal here. There's nothing like abnormal, but I think this is part of the challenges. I think even culturally, this is something that's just normalized. It's like anger is one of those things. Like, there's some people just get angry. There's some people are just more angry than other people. And again, I'm just really proud of you for saying, hey, there's some maybe healthy anger, but most of the time that's not from the Lord. And the way that I might be tempted to live out that anger and really react in ways that are not honoring to God, that you have this heart posture to say, God, I want to surrender that to you. I want to be transformed in that. That's encouraging to me. Like, I'm your dad, and that's super encouraging to me. And I know you've had a real desire to invite more people on that journey with you and hopefully encourage them. And I'm confident that people are being encouraged. What advice would you give somebody if there's somebody listening right now who maybe it's anger for them, maybe and maybe they're not 10 years old, but even what advice and encouragement would you give someone who's saying like, I've been struggling with that for my whole life, and I feel like I don't have that level of self-control. I haven't really been on that transformation journey as long, or I didn't start when I was 10 or 11 years old on that. So what encouragement would you give somebody who's saying, I'm just kind of really trying to get traction with that myself?
Trust me, you are not alone. I would say, even if you're not like listening to this and you're not really Christian, just pray. Like, it helps, and just pray and just give it to God. It will help, I promise. He will definitely heal that. Give you the humility to say sorry, and then step by step you'll get better.
I think talk with people, right? That's part of what you're saying is, pray to God, talk to God. So don't close down that communication line. Talk to God, be honest about what you're feeling. Let that lead to humility and an openness to talk with those trusted people you were talking about. That, who is that for you? Find those trusted people that you can not just vent to be angry simply and then leave it there, but have these places, these spaces. I think first and foremost, God has the broadest, strongest shoulders to carry all of it. I think, but there are people who, once you get to that point and you feel like you can talk to somebody, make sure you do that and don't bottle that up. Ruthie, thank you so much for this. Any final words, anything that you really have on your heart that you want to share?
Probably that God loves you, and just keep on going. Do not bottle up. Bottling up just makes it worse. Makes you get physical, and then soon you're in jail.
Right. Yeah, it's different when you with your siblings versus you as an adult getting physical. There are different ramifications there. So yeah, don't bottle it up. Pray about it. Talk with others. Don't give up the fight. As she said, keep going. Don't stop. Don't give up on yourself. God's not giving up on you. So lean into that. Again, I'd encourage you to look at Galatians chapter 5, and it talks about, the flesh versus the spirit and the fruit of that, and really pray through that and ask God to reveal to you what it is that is really the flesh taking over and not the spirit, and then asking Him to help you grow in the characteristics, the fruit of the Spirit, because ultimately I think we're dead in the water without the power of the Spirit of God to transform our lives. The truth of the Word of God that reveals things to us, that teaches us what our heart posture should be, gives us the example of Christ, and teaches us about life in the Spirit. And so, again, Ruth, I'm proud of you. Thank you for sharing this with everybody.
Yeah.
I know it'll be a blessing. And for those of you out there who either want to send an encouraging word to Ruth, you can email me at betterequippedwithcody@gmail.com, and I'll pass it on to Ruth. But if there's ways we can encourage you, if there's ways that we can be praying for you, or you want to dialogue this further, make sure you reach out to me, and we will do that. I'll include Ruth in the things that seem appropriate to include her in on this topic.
Yeah.
And but I know that this is encouraging, and will continue to be encouraging for people out there on the interweb. So we will see you on the next episode. Bye.
Bye.
Great job.
Thank you.
Was that fun?
Oh yeah, it was fun.
Good. You feel good about it?
Yeah.
Good.